HOA stole my yard and charged me rent. The fight for justice. I had always dreamed of the perfect backyard, a place where I could spend weekends grilling with friends, watching my kids play, and creating memories with my family. My corner lot provided all that, a large, private space where we could do as we pleased. But then the HOA decided it wanted a piece of it. And that's when everything changed. It all began with orange flags. At first, I thought the city was doing some kind of utility check. But when I noticed the flags weren't official city markers, but ones from the HOA, my stomach dropped. They weren't just marking the edges of the property. They were claiming it. A few days later, a letter arrived. It was in an envelope marked with a shiny gold seal. Inside, there was a map, drawn in what looked like crayon, showing that my backyard was now part of the HOA's Community Reflection Garden. And, to my shock, they were charging me a $300 monthly fee to use my own land. My backyard, which I'd meticulously taken care of, was now theirs to control. Furious, I went straight to the HOA office. That's when I met Karen, the president of the HOA. She was dressed in a sharp suit that screamed power. She explained, with a smirk, that the HOA had passed a new rule rezoning properties for communal use. When I asked her how I hadn't been informed, she shrugged, saying I missed the meeting. No matter. The rule was in place. I wasn't about to give up without a fight. I called a lawyer, but even he was stunned when he saw the documents. There was a forged signature claiming I'd agreed to the HOA's terms. They had no right to this land, yet they were moving forward with construction plans. They were putting in a raised yoga platform right where my grill had been. I was livid. The next morning, a team of contractors showed up. I couldn't believe it. They had no official orders, no paperwork, just a directive from Karen. This was happening whether I liked it or not. That was it. I wasn't just going to let them steal my backyard. I hauled my heavy grill up onto my roof and set up camp there. If they wanted to mess with my yard, they'd have to deal with me. I fired it up, filling the air with smoke as I grilled enough meat to feed an army. The contractors were pissed, but they couldn't do a thing. It wasn't long before things escalated. Karen's yoga deck was nearly finished, and she was hosting a community wellness session in my backyard. I wasn't going to let them have the last laugh. I rigged my sprinklers to spray right onto the deck as soon as the session began. Watching the whole group get soaked was sweet, sweet revenge. But it didn't end there. I sent the HOA a bill for water usage, emotional distress, and even deck space leasing. They ignored it, but that only fueled my fire. I set up over 30 lawn gnomes with angry expressions along the edge of their precious yoga platform. Some of them even laughed when people walked by. Karen wasn't happy, to say the least. Things only got worse. My mail started getting delayed, my fence was vandalized, and my internet mysteriously went out. It was clear Karen was fighting dirty, but I had something better. I had the truth. As more neighbors started to speak out about their own experiences with the HOA, I realized I wasn't alone. The tipping point came when I hired a land surveyor to uncover the truth about my property lines. Not only did we find that my land had been stolen, but the HOA had altered boundaries for multiple properties over the years. It was an outright heist. Armed with the truth, I went to court. The neighborhood was watching. In the end, Karen's fraudulent actions came to light. The HOA was forced to pause its operations, and the community began to turn against her. The very rules she used to control us were now her undoing. It wasn't just about the backyard anymore. It was about standing up for what was right, for what belonged to me. And in the end, it was my neighbors who helped me fight this battle. So, what do you think? Was it right for the HOA to seize my land, or was I justified in fighting back? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this power struggle and how far the HOA went. Call to action. If you've ever faced an HOA overreach, share your story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.